Alright, good morning everybody. How y'all doing? Good. So before we actually dive into this, got a couple questions here. So please raise your hand if you have internet service at home. Okay, pretty dumb question, unless everybody has internet. Okay, raise your hand again if in the last month you've had some sort of problem with your internet. It's been slower than usual, you've had dropped connection, anything that has been less than what you expect out of your internet. Okay? One last question. Who here feels like they have the time, the energy, the money, the technical expertise, the inclination to do something about that, to identify and address all the issues with their home internet access? Okay, that's about what I expected. So we've seen this in our research for talking to people both locally and across the country. Most everybody has internet access, most everybody has problems with their internet, and nobody really feels like they are in a good position to identify and resolve those problems. So with that in mind, my name is Eric Smythe, I'm the co-founder of Mastiff, and our mission is to provide you with a better connection to the internet. So much of our internet experience is out of our control, from the quality of the sites that we visit, to where we're living, determining what service providers are available. But the one thing that is absolutely in our control is our home network. Now, for most of us, this takes the form of our wireless router, that little black box that we've hidden away in the closet and don't really think about. But we have an immense ability to improve the quality of our internet experience by providing a better home network. So let's talk a little bit more about the problem. So there's a number of different problems with the wireless products that we have right now. First and foremost, they're ugly and frustrating to use. So they've got poor user interfaces, they're hard to configure if they even have features that are configurable. They require technical expertise that is beyond what a lot of people have. Now that's what we're all sort of familiar with and all the connectivity issues that we've already identified. But more than that, there's all these problems below the surface. The devices themselves are insecure and offer very little protection for us online. They lack the insight, the ability to understand what the problems are and to take steps to fix them. They don't offer important features like parental controls or quality of service to make sure that we get better streaming. And as we add more smart devices to our homes, they lack the ability to better integrate those devices. So all in all, frustrating experience up front and a whole missed opportunity sort of below the surface. Now, let me introduce the team that's trying to solve this. So my co-founder and I have combined about 20 years of experience in software development with a heavy focus on cybersecurity. Now, on top of that, we've got about another 20 years of both formal and informal IT support. So we're very familiar with both the problems of home networking, but also have some pretty good ideas on how to go about solving them. We're supported by a great advisory board of generalists and subject matter experts. So we think that we're really well positioned to solve this problem. Now, our solution, Mastiff, is, oh, that looks awful on that screen. Our solution is an affordable app-enabled wireless router that is easier to use, smarter, and more secure than what we've come to expect. So let's dive into that a little bit. So we're all familiar with the Wi-Fi password. It's been a staple of Wi-Fi networks for decades. It's annoying to remember. We usually have to write it down, look it up. We'll mistype it a couple times. We're going to start off by getting rid of that. Rather than creating another account on top of the dozens that you already have that you have to remember, go ahead and use an account that you already have. Sign in with your Google account or your Facebook account and connect your network that way. That, as a starting point, not only makes it easier to get onto your network, but makes it much easier to add additional features like easily set up parental controls. So set up parental controls in a more intuitive way. Don't go find little Billy's MAC address for his laptop. Set the parental controls on Billy's profile, because all of the devices that you add to your network are automatically associated with the person that added them. So making sure that everybody has good quality of service, that no one person's hogging the bandwidth. Setting parental controls. That's all much, much easier. Next time you have friends coming over and they need to get on, just send them an invite. Don't look up your Wi-Fi password. We also have the ability to improve the quality of streaming services and the addition of smart devices to your home. We're the one point in the home that kind of ties everything in your home together and to the internet. So we can do things like automatically detect when you're trying to watch a movie on Netflix and prioritize that so you get the best possible bandwidth. Last, and sort of one of the things that we feel is most important, I mentioned our background in security. So we think that consumers by and large are left unsecure online, and we feel like that's not what the case should be. So we're going to start off by providing better firewall, better intrusion prevention, and provide the ability to silently update the router so that you'll always have the latest updates without having to worry about it. So the market opportunity that we're looking at is absolutely massive. Like you saw at the start, everybody has internet, everybody has problems with the internet. We're going to start off with our beachhead right here in the local Sacramento area, and we're partnering with a couple of, we're looking to partner with some service providers to help get the product distributed. We differentiate from the existing products out there based off the features that we offer, and we differentiate from some of the other premium products based off of price. We're looking at both a purchase and a subscription-based business model. Longer term, we'd like to explore licensing as an option. But so far, we've actually already launched our first beta router, assembled our advisory board, completed a startup boot camp, and done a lot of market and customer research. So our next steps, we're hoping to launch our minimum viable product this fall. We're big fans of lean startups, so we're going to go ahead and continue to build, measure, learn.
Go ahead.
And we're also going to go ahead and raise our first round of funding and complete the Founders Institute Accelerator. So we're Mastiff, and thank you for your attention.
Nice job. So one of the benefits of this meetup is you get to ask us as a community, how can we help support you?
So my asks, I need your help. As you saw, everybody has internet. Everybody has problems with internet. I would like your input, whether it's taking 5 minutes to take a short little survey, the Google link's on the screen, or you can talk to me afterwards. Or if you have a little bit more time, I'd love to sit down with you, I'll buy you a coffee or beer, talk to you more about sort of your home experience and some of the ways that we're talking about addressing it. If you're really ambitious, go ahead and sign up for the beta. We'll give you a device to put in your home and help us validate our assumptions around the device itself and the service that we're offering. For those first 3, tell friends and family. We'd like to talk to them as well. Finally, the sort of bigger ask. We know that one of our challenges is going to be distribution. A lot of people don't think about their wireless routers. It's the best point to get them is when they're making a decision around their internet service. So we're looking at partnering with small internet service providers, with property managers and property developers who can help get us in front of customers when they're making a decision. So if you have friends, family, coworkers, people that you've worked with that would be good potential distribution partners, we'd love to talk to them as well.
Excellent. Let's open it up to questions and comments.
So I know when I'm buying a router, or when I recently bought a router, the things that I look at are, is this going to be able to handle whatever speed of internet that I want? And then will it not crash? Like, is it relatively stable, right? So is that something like, I guess I'm forgetting the metrics exactly, but is your router that you're building, do you have like, is it kind of competitive in terms of capacity and bandwidth or megabytes per second, or what's the thinking on that?
So there's a couple ways to look at that. So the short answer is yes, we are absolutely comfortable in terms of speed. Ad hoc testing that my co-founder and I have done, we're at least as fast as the router that we're leasing from Comcast, but a lot of times faster. Now, the catch to this is speed is a little bit of a troubling metric to measure. So you have the speed of the service you're getting from your service provider. That's also affected by the sites you're visiting, where you are in your home. But generally speaking, for our initial customer base, we will offer at least as fast of an experience as what they're getting from their existing product. Now, if you're a Google Fiber subscriber who has gigabit internet and you want gigabit networking within your home, I'm sorry, we can't help you right off the bat, but we can definitely support well above the national average for home broadband.
Say I'm an employer and I have 100 employees and I want to get you service. What would be the enticement or the marketing to allow my employees to have your service?
So that's not an angle that we've looked at from a business perspective. We're not targeting larger businesses. We certainly feel like we can support small businesses less than 25 employees, both supporting in the business as well as it'd be great for those employees at home. But once you have that many employees, you have more complex networking requirements, whether it's authentication or or network topology, multiple sites, whatever the case may be, you're better off with the devices that are specifically designed for larger businesses and working with an IT vendor to help configure all those.
And the last question is, in the sophistication of this product, the simplicity of setting it up, is it going to be a hardware device? Because I can see my grandma or my mom getting a device where she just plugs it in and you help her configure it, or is it auto-configured?
So it's going to be auto-configured. So it's as simple as, this is actually the prototype router that we're sending out right now. So it's as simple as plugging in the powder, plugging in the network cable to your modem, and then you're all set. So there's no additional configuration.
You don't have to get on a screen and configure.
Yes, our prototypes are based off of the wonderful Raspberry Pi device. It is a great platform for getting up and running and testing very quickly without having the expense of manufacturing our own hardware.
As you get bigger, are you looking at manufacturing your own device rather than using Raspberry Pi?
So absolutely what we're looking at about the 1 year mark is, at that point, we hope that we've had enough customer validation to establish that we've got product market fit, that we'll be able to raise a round of funding to go build a custom hardware platform that will allow us to do things like target the gigabit speeds, target a custom platform that is a little bit more designed for what we're trying to do rather than general purpose.
And you mentioned this already, sorry, but my head is like spinning today. Okay, so for example, we have Xfinity at our house.
Yes.
Can we use your router?
Yes. So right now, about half to 2/3 of the people in the country lease their router from the service provider. So that's exactly why we're targeting that as a service model, because we feel like it's already something that people are accustomed to. But to the point that you were asking, Comcast, Xfinity, all these other companies have to support people bringing their own devices. So you can absolutely bring our router and either connect it to a cable modem with Xfinity or a DSL modem if you have AT&T and use it with their service.
And do you think an 80-year-old man with a smartphone would be able to navigate?
So we certainly hope so, but we are targeting for our B10 market is millennials and Gen Xers who are already much more accustomed to app-enabled devices. Yes, we would like this to be usable and useful for everybody, but we know that that's going to be a challenge as we expand it out.
And this thought just came, my dad is 80 years old and has a smartphone. He uses voice commands a lot.
Yep.
Is that something you might put into your...
So it's definitely something we're looking at in a couple of different ways. One is integration with services like Alexa, Google Home to allow you to say, hey, what's my internet speed right now? Or integration for networking specific. But you mentioned the integration with the smart home. Well, one of the things that we think is really interesting is you say, hey, Alexa, I want to watch a movie. Well, it's not a command specifically for your router. But Alexa can then dim the lights, it can turn on your TV, turn on your Roku, start up the movie. But we also want the router to be smart enough to say, okay, if you're watching a movie, let's prioritize that to make sure that the BitTorrent going on in the other room isn't going to affect your movie experience. So we're looking at that, the smart home integration from a number of angles.
I got two quick questions and two ideas for you.
Okay.
The questions are, when you mentioned that you're looking for introductions to potential distribution partners, are you thinking about Comcast and Xfinity and some of the corporate groups out there that actually have corporate venture arms as well that could be sources of capital?
Yes, so we are definitely thinking about that. We think that those partnerships with some of the larger service providers will be a little bit further out. We're still, like I said, we just we're shipping our first 5 devices. So we have a little bit more validation to do before we're in a position to work with larger companies. That said, they are already making some pretty significant investments in different areas of consumer technology. Comcast has invested $40 million in a company called Plume, which is a really interesting approach to Wi-Fi mesh networking. But yes, that is, we're looking at initially the smaller municipal and regional service providers because they don't have that budget to go invest in new technologies, but they can still benefit from our technology.
Okay. And then did I miss it, or did you have some level of a financial overview of your company showing how much time or money you've invested and what you forecast in revenues for the next couple of years?
So we didn't go into detail on that. We are self-funded at this point. We've committed $40,000 to funding our venture. That'll help us scale to the first couple hundred customers. One of the big challenges that we have is that with the capital expenditures of buying the router, that's limiting our growth. But at the same time, we feel like that's important because it lowers the barrier of adoption, so we can have customers try it much more easily than if they had to spend $150 or $200 to buy a router. With that initial $40,000, depending on the rate of growth, that gives us anywhere from 3 to 6 months worth of runway. If we go really slow growth, we can slow play it for the full first year. But yeah, we do have several months worth of runway based on our self-funding.
Yeah, I think seeing a financial forecast over the next couple of years to show how big this could get and how fast it could get kind of calibrates the audience on sort of what you're trying to do and your vision for how big it could get. So anyway, that might be something you consider incorporating. A couple of other quick ideas for you just on the deck itself. I really like the technology landscape overview at the beginning. And then you describe sort of the company landscape later on, the competition and those things. And I thought that there might be an opportunity if earlier in the presentation you included kind of the technical overview and the companies that are currently in the space, and then showed where you think the gap is. Because it kind of sets up for me to understand that, wow, okay, now here's the gap that you're solving, and as a parent of 3 kids, I'd like a good night button on the Wi-Fi, right? You know, and effectively that's one of the things you're providing. You're monitoring bandwidth, you're doing other things, and so I think that could be a compelling way to set up what I saw with regard to your solution. The other thing I was going to mention is with regard to your team. Oftentimes I see entrepreneurs kind of breeze over their advisory board. It sounded like you have a pretty credible advisory board. You might consider incorporating things like their years of experience or the number of venture-backed deals they've been in or the number of exits that they've been involved with, because that kind of speaks to their industry expertise and their experience in building successful companies from idea to product to, NASDAQ ticker symbol, right? And so oftentimes what I see is, oh, and I've got a great advisory board, and you're kind of moving on to the next slide because you're running out of time. But that enhances the credibility of the whole venture if these people are investing time in you and advising you. Yeah, and the last thing that I would mention is I didn't see you. I walked in just as you started presenting. I didn't see you present the product until the very end when a question was answered. Yeah. And there's something about seeing you have a physical product. There's something about seeing that earlier in the process that leads the audience to believe, hey, this isn't just an idea that you have. You've actually created something. It's really hard to create what you created in that box. I mean, to go from an idea to a physical product is very difficult. To ship and get revenues is even more difficult. But you've hit a major milestone by having a physical product. And so anyway, you might consider showing that up front.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Last question.
Have you identified specific target markets or features that will be compelling enough so that those distributors that you're looking at would actually go you versus everything else on the market?
So the short answer is we've not narrowed it down to the specific ones that we need to target first. We have a number of different features that have appealed to different market segments, but we still have additional testing to do.
Okay. Good job.